Here we have the latest model from Crafter Blue, the Mechanic Ocean Mark II. This model is in the more affordable camp, not as affordable as the Bon Voyage chronograph I reviewed a few months ago, but compared to their Hyperion Ocean Diver or the Hyperion Ocean chronograph, which comes in around $800 to $1,000 depending on the model, this one is currently $449. It comes in either a black dial or a white silver dial, and it follows the design of that Hyperion Ocean with that bezel style, which is very reminiscent of some Panerai divers. This case is stainless steel, 41 millimeters, has a slab-sided straight lug case, has the crown at 4 o'clock, which in my head always reminds me of quite a few Seiko divers, and it's powered by the Miura 9015 movement. It also has a domed top hat sapphire crystal, and of course comes with a Crafter Blue FKM rubber strap. This piece does have a unique look, and it's more on the affordable side, especially compared to some of their other models. So how does it stack up? Let's find out. So let's start out with the design and dimensions of this Crafter Blue Mechanic Ocean Mark II. Was there a Mark I that I just don't remember? But anyways, the design and dimensions are somewhat unique. This is a 41 millimeter watch, and I'll put all the specs here on screen, but the lug-to-lug is 46 millimeters. It's a very slab-sided case. Yes, it's rounded out in the middle, or curved out of the middle, if you will, on the case, but the sides are very flat. There's no tapering or curves or it's just a very straight slab-sided case, basically what I said in the beginning. And it creates a very straight look and feel on the wrist. It's also got 22 millimeter lugs, which is wide for a 41 millimeter watch. You would normally see 20 millimeters, so it gives this piece a unique look with all these elements combined. But let's take a look at that bezel and dial, and you will notice how this bezel has been designed. It's a pretty wide bezel. The DLC plated insert isn't actually that wide. It's relatively thin, but if you look out beyond that, you'll see that it's a wide bezel, which I measured from the edge of the bezel to the steel area beyond the insert, and it's 6 millimeters. This makes the dial small. And this is important. I mean, it's small, not looks small, because if I measure the top hat crystal edge to edge, it's 27.6 millimeters. So a very large bezel, a smaller dial, a long straight lug case, and 22 millimeter lugs. Proportions are a little odd here, no doubt. But yet there is something intriguing about it. Yes, the bezel will remind many of Panerai, but everything combined together, it does kind of stand out. It has an interesting look that really doesn't look like every other dive watch out there. The first thing I thought of was some of the original Obrus Morgan watches. It has a similar feel and vibe, and if you're old enough or have been in the watch game long enough, you probably remember Obrus Morgan, but these days it seems they are no longer in business. But the brand did create some unique and distinct, some would say funky or quirky watches. And I think that is the camp I would put these in, quirky. No, I'm not trying to rip off Doug DeMuro. Quirky has been a word long before he started reviewing cars. And I don't think quirky is necessarily a bad thing. It means it has some character. It's a little different, at least most of the time. The dial is simple and clean. It's a matte black dial. The hands and applied indices have a large grain brushed finish. It's a little raw looking, especially on the hour and minute hand. I think I would prefer a finer brushing. As some have mentioned, it's got a lot of text on the lower portion of the dial, no more than most, but like I have said for a long time, we don't need the word automatic on any of these watches, especially if the brand doesn't have a quartz variation that needs to be distinguished from, and just removing the one word makes this dial even cleaner. The arrow second hand is blue to match the blue Lume pip on the bezel, which is always nice to see that cohesiveness. And speaking of the bezel, how's the action on both the bezel and crown? Well, it's okay. There's just not enough grip, in my opinion, on both the bezel and the crown. The bezel is 120 clicks and it stays in place where you put it, no issues there, but I just can't get a good grip on it. Either the coin edge needs to extend down longer on the bezel, or the bezel needs to be thicker. Now, maybe if you have smaller hands or fingers, it would work better, but for me, I struggled. Same with the crown. It's machined to have grip, but I wish they were more prominent. I really have to dig in to turn the crown and set the time and screw it down. The crown feels large enough to me, I just wish there was more grip. It's running the Miyota 9015, and I found no issues with this example beyond the overly loud rotor these movements are known for. The case back is pretty standard. It's a screw down case back, a light etching in the middle. Nothing to wow me, but nothing to complain about either. And I am one that prefers a solid case back, especially on a dive watch like this, or ones with standard movements such as the Miyota 9015. But then we get to the one thing I haven't mentioned at all till now, and that is those little metal end links in the lugs above the rubber strap. Now, these are both interesting and infuriating at the same time. Now, to be clear, I'm not sure why they are there. I don't know if they did it for aesthetic or just to give the strap more of a curved end piece type feel. But the good news is they are removable, something I wasn't aware of until I went to change the strap just to see how other straps work with these end pieces in there. But the issue is twofold. One, these are not screwed in place or part of the case. They are just pressure fit in. Now, that's good that they are removable, so you can wear this on a NATO style strap if you want. But when you remove the strap, which you need to do with the spring bar tool or small screwdriver, as this does not have drilled lugs, which I feel is a miss for the style of watch, that end piece is just going to fall out. And I'm not joking that I dread taking this off again to show you these end pieces on camera, as it was just a pain to put them back in and get the strap back in there. The end pieces only go in one way. The curved inside has to be facing the strap, otherwise there's not enough clearance for the strap and it's not going to fit properly. But even when correctly installed, it's still a really tight fit with this thick FKM strap. I'm not joking. The one side took me almost 10 minutes to get the strap back on as the spring bar kept popping out, the end piece kept falling out, and you really have to push down to press that metal end piece in and get that spring bar in the hole, or it'll just pop out. If the strap had those tiny little cutouts at each end to give you space for your spring bar tool, this may be a lot easier. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe it's just the hole. Nope, because I did take the metal part out and just put the strap on regularly, and it took like 2 seconds, one click, no problem. Now, if the metal piece was actually a part of the case or was screwed in, it wouldn't move and it would probably make things easier. The flip side is, if you want to do a NATO strap or you just don't like the look, it's going to come right off easily, and then you can wear it like any other watch with a standard strap. And speaking of wearing, once the bars are solidly locked in there, it wears fine. I never had an issue with them popping off while wearing them, even while wearing jackets or working out or doing anything. Now, once you know they are locked in there, they're good to go, but just double and triple check that they are snapped into place. On my 7.5-inch or 19.05 centimeter wrist, it's a very comfortable watch. The FKM strap should easily fit an 8-inch wrist, and these are very comfortable straps. I've owned a lot of Crafter Blue straps over the years, and I like them, so no issues there. Now, one thing to mention, even with the smaller dial and that large bezel, just the way it's built and the overall dimensions and those 22 millimeter lugs and strap, it does feel larger than a 41 millimeter watch. Lastly, we have the Lume, and it's okay. The area where the Lume is applied to the hands and indices is small, so I didn't expect to be blown away by the Lume, and I'm not. But it does glow well for a few hours, but this is not an all-night Lume monster. I also wish the bezel was fully indexed and that those were lumed. It would just look a little bit cooler in the dark, in my opinion. The design definitely does remind me of Obrus Morgan. Not sure why, maybe I'm off on that, but I do remember at least one of their models having a 4 o'clock crown with crown guards like this. I'm not saying it's a copy of one of their watches, but for whatever reason, it just gives me that vibe. My biggest gripe is obviously those little metal end link pieces, but I think the easy solution is just to take them off and wear the straps like normal. But if you do like the look, just make sure they are solidly in there and the strap bars are attached in the holes. For the current price, I think it fits right in with others in the $450 area. The overall look is kind of unique, maybe even a tad unusual, and I think that's the appeal here, and I think it looked good on my wrist. Let me know what you think of it though. Head to the comments, share your thoughts on this Crafter Blue Mechanic Ocean Mark II. Please check out our other reviews, subscribe to the channel if you aren't, and drop a like to show your support for the channel. I think this will be the last video posted before Christmas, so to all of you, happy holidays from Watch Report. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.